Children, today I am going to explain you about the Union Legislature. But before I start with the Union Legislature, I would explain you about the three important organs of the government. The three important organs of the government are the Legislature, the Executive and the Judiciary. Legislature is a law-making body. Executive is implementing the law. Judiciary means adjudication, protection of laws. Legislature makes the laws, executive implements, enforces the laws, and judiciary protects these laws. In legislature, in the syllabus of class 10, you have to do union legislature. Union legislature consists of parliament. Parliament with its two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Executive consists of the real executive heads of the country, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Judiciary consists of, at the apex, we have the Supreme Court. Below the Supreme Court, we have the High Courts and then the subordinate courts. Now let us begin with the two houses of Parliament, which are very important. Parliament consists of two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha is the house of the people. Rajya Sabha is Council of States. It represents the 28 states of India. Lok Sabha is a representative house. Why? Because it is an elected house, elected by the people of India. Now let us come to the composition, strength of both the houses. I will side by side compare all the features of both the houses. Strength of Lok Sabha is 545. As per the constitution, maximum strength can be 552. Out of these 545 members, 543 are elected, 2 are nominated by the president if the Anglo-Indian community is not represented adequately in the house. In Rajya Sabha, the strength is 250 members. Out of these 250 members, 238 are elected, 12 are nominated by the president on the basis of their excellence in their respective fields like sports, art, culture, astronomy, etc. Now, Lok Sabha can be dissolved before the expiry of the term of 5 years. The tenure, normal tenure of Lok Sabha is of 5 years, but it can be dissolved before the expiry of the term of 5 years. Whereas Rajya Sabha is a permanent house. This is not subject to dissolution. We cannot dissolve Rajya Sabha. The tenure of Rajya Sabha is of 6 years. 1/3 of its members, they retire after every 2 years. Now let us come to the quorum. Quorum means minimum number of members to be present in the house to conduct its business. So the minimum number required is 1/10 for both the houses. So in Lok Sabha we require at least 55 members to be present in the house to conduct its business. In Rajya Sabha, 25 members, 1/10 of the total. 25 members are required to conduct its business. Now come to the qualification, children. See, all the qualifications are same for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha except the age. Now, other qualifications are he or she should be an Indian citizen. He or she should have his name in the electoral rolls in some part of the country. He should not be an insolvent or should not be in debt and should have the ability to meet his financial commitments. He should not hold any office of profit in the government. He should not be a proclaimed criminal. He should not be of unsound mind. So the only difference is of age. Lok Sabha age is at least 25 years of age. For Rajya Sabha is 30 years of age. Now let us come to the presiding officers of both the houses. Presiding officer of Lok Sabha is the Speaker. Then we have a provision for deputy speaker also. So these are the officers of Lok Sabha, speaker and deputy speaker. For Rajya Sabha, our vice president is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Then again there is a provision of the deputy chairman in Rajya Sabha. Now let us come to this first house, Lok Sabha, which is House of the People. See how the elections are contested to Lok Sabha. First of all, this is very important. Secret ballot. Elections in India are held by secret ballot. The secret ballot system has been devised so that the voters may cast their votes secretly in favor of a candidate of their own choice without any fear. So that's why we have this secret ballot. Then territorial constituencies. This is delimitation of the areas. Delimiting the areas for the purpose of elections. It is called constituencies. Each state or union territory is divided into electoral areas or territorial constituencies, which are known as parliamentary constituencies. Any number of candidates may contest election from the same constituency, but the one who gets the highest number of votes is declared as elected. Once the member is elected to Lok Sabha, they take the oath of office. In this oath, they bear true faith and allegiance, loyalty to the Constitution of India. Now let us come to the advantages of Lok Sabha. As this is a representative house, people of our country elects Lok Sabha on the basis of universal adult franchise. Universal means meant for all. Adult means those who have attained the age of 18. Franchise means their right to vote. Means all those citizens of India, those who have attained the age of 18 are entitled to vote without any discrimination made on the grounds of caste, color, creed, religion, sex, place of birth, etc. Now, advantages of this house. This is a representative house because it is an elected house. People of India, they have power, sovereign power in their hands. So it is a representative house. Numerical strength. Then ordinary bills then can be originate in Rajya Sabha also. But in case if there is a deadlock between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, then a joint session is called of both the houses. In that case, voting is taken. Lok Sabha is proved to be more advantageous because of its numerical strength, which is double the strength of Rajya Sabha. Money bill, very important. All money bills are introduced only in Lok Sabha. Referring money bills to the Rajya Sabha is a mere constitutional formality because Rajya Sabha can withhold the money bill with it only for the period of 14 days. If it does not return the bill back within 14 days, the bill is considered as passed. Rajya Sabha basically has no power over the money bills. Then no confidence motion can only be introduced and passed in Lok Sabha. Because of the numerical strength, it has a greater say in the election of the president also and of the election of vice president because of its numerical strength. So these are the advantages of Lok Sabha. Now let us come to the functions of the speaker. Speaker, who is the presiding officer of Lok Sabha, has to perform various functions. These are as follows. First is the business of the house. The business of the house is conducted by the speaker. The speaker presides over the meetings of the house. All speeches and remarks are addressed to the speaker. He allots time for the discussion. The speaker interprets the rules of procedures of the house. His decision in all parliamentary matters is final. All bills passed by the house are signed by him before they are sent to Rajya Sabha for its consideration or to the president for his assent. The speaker decides the admissibility of all questions and resolutions. He decides the admissibility of a motion of adjournment. He puts the issues to vote and announces the results. The speaker does not vote in the house, but when there are equal votes on both sides, that is the treasury benches and the opposition, then speaker casts his vote, which is known as a casting vote. The speaker decides whether a bill is a money bill or an ordinary bill. Administrative functions. The speaker receives all petitions and documents in the house. He communicates the decisions of the house to the concerned authorities. He regulates the admission of visitors and press correspondents to the galleries of the house. Disciplinary functions. The speaker maintains order in the house. When members become unruly, he may order them to withdraw. He may suspend a member if he disregards the authority of the chair. In case of the words used by the member are indecent or unparliamentary, the speaker may order that such words be expunged, removed from the proceedings of the house. The speaker decides whether there is a case for a matter relating to a breach of privilege or contempt of the house. Then there are various parliamentary committees in the parliament. The speaker is the ex officio chairman of some of the committees of the house, such as the Business Advisory Committee, Rules Committee, etc. Then there were various miscellaneous functions which are performed by the speaker. So this was all about Lok Sabha, children. Let us come to the second house, that is the Rajya Sabha, Council of State. It is very important house. It is not a superfluous house. Why? Because when Lok Sabha is not in session, Rajya Sabha is a permanent house. It is always in function. So it is also equally important. I already explained you the term, the composition, quorum, qualifications of Rajya Sabha. Now let us come to the powers of this house, Rajya Sabha. Come to the legislative powers. All bills other than the money bills can originate in Rajya Sabha. No bill can become a law unless it is signed by both the houses of parliament. If there is disagreement, the president may summon both the houses of parliament in a joint meeting. At the joint sitting, issues are decided by a majority of the members of both the houses present and voting. Let us come to the financial powers. The position of Rajya Sabha in regard to money bill is inferior to that of Lok Sabha, as I explained to you earlier. Money bill can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. After being passed by Lok Sabha, it goes to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha has a power of withholding the money bill with it only for the time period of 14 days. So in financial matters, the Rajya Sabha has only an advisory role. Constitutional powers. A bill to amend the constitution. Any changes has to be made in the constitution. In that case also both the houses enjoys co-equal powers. Constitutional powers in that bill to amend the constitution can originate in either of the houses of parliament. After being passed by both the houses of parliament by majority, then the constitutional amendment takes place. Administrative powers. The Council of Ministers is responsible to Lok Sabha, only to the lower house. The central government formed by a party or various parties collapses if a no confidence motion is passed. The Rajya Sabha has no role in this process, but Rajya Sabha can exercise control over it by means of questions, interpellation, very important, asking questions and various motions like motion of adjournment. No confidence motion is only passed in Lok Sabha. Other motions, Rajya Sabha can exercise control. Moreover, ministers may be appointed from Rajya Sabha. The constitution permits a minister who is not a member of Lok Sabha to take part in the proceedings. So these are the powers and functions of Rajya Sabha. There are various miscellaneous other powers which are regarding elections, impeachment, proclamation of emergency, removal of judges, elections. Rajya Sabha, like Lok Sabha, participates in the election of president. President is elected by an electoral college which is consisted of elected members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Vice President may be removed from office by a resolution of the Rajya Sabha passed by a majority of all the members present and agreed to by the Lok Sabha. Impeachment. A resolution to impeach the president may be moved in either of the houses of parliament. After it is passed by one house, the charge against the president is investigated by the other house. Proclamation of emergency. The approval of both the houses is necessary for the continuation of the proclamation of emergency. Removal of judges. A judge of the Supreme Court or a High Court may be removed after an address passed by both the Houses of Parliament against him to be presented to the President. Now these were the powers of the Rajya Sabha. Now there are some special powers also of Rajya Sabha. That's why we say this house is not superfluous. It is very powerful house in some regards. Rajya Sabha has some exclusive powers. Article 249 of the Constitution. It may declare that Parliament should make laws with respect to a matter in the state list. If a subject mentioned in the state list is declared of national importance, then the Parliament will legislate on that. Other advantages are also there of this house. The Rajya Sabha is a permanent house, cannot be dissolved. It has special exclusive powers to declare a resolution that the Parliament should make laws in respect of a matter on state list. It also has the exclusive power to declare all India services in the national interest. They should be created. During emergency, if Lok Sabha is dissolved, then at least Rajya Sabha shoulders the responsibility of the Union Legislature. So this house is also very important. These were the powers and functions of Rajya Sabha. Now when we are discussing the powers and functions of Parliament, that means in this regard, we have to mention the powers and functions of both the houses of Parliament, Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Now let us now discuss the legislative powers of Parliament. That is matters in the Union list. As I told you in the beginning, there are three lists. Union list, which contains 97 subjects. State list contains 66 subjects. Concurrent list contains 47 subjects. The subjects mentioned in the Union list, the Union government, Parliament can legislate on that. State list, the state legislative assemblies will legislate on that. Concurrent, both Union and state can legislate on that. Legislate means making law. So, Union list, state list and concurrent list. On concurrent list, both can legislate. But in case there is a conflict over the concurrent list between the central and the state government, then the state government is inferior to the central government. Central law will prevail in that case. Then there are residuary powers of Parliament. Very important. See, three lists they have mentioned. But if there is some emergency, unforeseen thing which comes before Parliament and on that it has to legislate, that will come under the residuary powers of Parliament and it can legislate on it. What are ordinances? Sometimes Parliament is not in session. Meetings are not going on of the Parliament. In that case, President has the power to issue ordinances. Ordinances are the orders passed by the President. President is empowered to promulgate an ordinance at a time when the Parliament is not in session. It has the same effect as an act. All ordinances must be put up before the houses for their approval. Ordinances cease to operate after 6 weeks from the reassembly of Parliament unless they are approved by the houses. Let us now come to the financial powers. Financial powers means the budget. The Parliament passes the Union budget containing the estimate of receipts and expenditure of the government for a financial year. The budget is presented in two parts. These are railway budget and the general budget. Then the supplementary grants. If the amount authorized for the current financial year is not sufficient, the government may make a fresh demand which is known as a supplementary grant. Vote on account. If the Union budget is not passed before the beginning of the new financial year, that is April 1, there would be no money for the executive to spend. There is therefore a device which is known as vote on account, which authorizes the executive to draw funds from the consolidated fund of India. Then there is fixation of salaries. The salaries and allowances of MPs and ministers are determined by Parliament. Then we have control over the executive. The Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the House of the People, to the lower house. They are answerable to the lower house. They remain in office as long as they enjoy the confidence of a majority of members in Lok Sabha. Parliament exercises control over these executives in these manners. These are the manners: through interpellation, asking questions. The first hour of the House begins with the question hour, very important hour, in which the members of the opposition ask the questions from the members of the majority party. The question hour, calling attention notice, half an hour discussion. These are some of the devices which seek information from the government about its policies and performance. So that is check on the government. Of these, the most important is the question hour. The first hour of the sitting in both houses is allotted for asking and answering the questions. So the questions are asked to obtain information on a matter of public importance or to ventilate a grievance. It is a valuable device against injustice and slackness on the part of the government. Vote of no confidence. If the government acts against the constitutional provisions, it can be voted out of office by passing a vote of no confidence against the Prime Minister or the ministry as a whole or any of its members. In this case, they swim and sink together. The Council of Ministers, they swim and sink together. Adjournment motion. Motion for adjournment is aimed at censoring the acts of omission and commission of the ministers. The following are some of the occasions on which adjournment motions were allowed in the past: death of several persons due to the consumption of unlicensed liquor or killing of a senior IPS officer in a place of worship, etc. Other motions are also there. Censor motion. The Parliament exercises its control over the government by other motions. If passed, amount to no confidence. They include adjournment motion, motion of censure against a minister, rejection of a government bill, passing of a private member's bill against the wishes of the government. Then monetary control. During the budget session, a cut motion may be moved. Parliamentary Committee on Public Accounts ensured that public money is spent in accordance with Parliament's decision. It examines reports of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Let us now come to these parliamentary procedures, which are very, very important. Parliamentary procedures are very, very important.